What's going on, guys? Hope everyone is doing well and having a good day and staying out of trouble and all that cool stuff. And I'm just curious how y'all's quarantine bodies are going, because mine's going great. We went fairly in-depth into the halving on Friday night. Last night we were just kind of winging it. I didn't really have too much of a plan because I was still working on the spreadsheet a little bit and just kind of goofing off. But I realized in Friday's stream that the calculations in the spreadsheet were way off. So I figured I would mess around with it and see if I could get it fixed. And I think I've got it all fixed up. And then, so I added some stuff so that we might be able to do some comparisons and stuff like that. And how, potentially how miners, Bitcoin miners should be dealing with the halving and the effect that the halving is going to have on their profitability, and how we can all just speculate on how that's going to actually affect the price, the value of Bitcoin. But there's no doubt that in just about less than 2 weeks, there's going to be twice as, how's the way to say it, half as much. There's going to be half as much Bitcoin produced or earned, hitting the market, whatever you want to, however you want to say it, each day. So it's going to be half of that, and that is going to have an impact, right? Some people say that it's probably already priced in, which I beg to differ with that, because it can't be priced in if it hasn't happened yet, right? Because, I mean, yes, there can be planning, there can be, the ASIC the large ASIC mining farms certainly have planned for it. They knew it was coming for 4 years, so it's not like they aren't planning. If they haven't been, then they're way behind the curve. But so in that aspect, then maybe, or in that respect, maybe some of it has been priced in a little bit. But if the demand stays the same as it is right now for Bitcoin, then we should see a valuation increase, right? Because if there's 50% of the supply each day and the same demand, then it should increase in price. That's the way, increase in value. At least that's the way it makes sense to me. I don't know. I'm not an analyst. I don't know this stuff that well, but just from a outside looking in kind of thing, it does look like that would be the case. But there's no telling. No one really knows what's going to happen. There's a lot of speculation. So let me check the chat, see what you guys are up to over here. What's up, Crypto Mining? Lifer, what's up, Crypto Mikkel? Grits, Travis. What's going on, guys? Is audio good? I'm showing good on my side. That's funny. All right, so let's do a little bit of real quick little news here. Not really news, but just a little article here. We are 99% through the next halving, and that happened on block 627,900. And like I was saying earlier, BTC is going to become twice as scarce on a daily basis. And this article here talks about Maddie Greenspan, analyst Maddie Greenspan, recently pointed out that Bitcoin's annual inflation rate, this is really important because this is, all that financial stuff that goes along with Bitcoin and its potential valuation. But Bitcoin's annual inflation rate will be 1.8% after this halving. The average inflation rate for fiat currencies globally is 3.41. So after this halving is whenever Bitcoin becomes less inflationary than most other, the average fiat currencies globally, right? So that, by itself should make Bitcoin more attractive as a potential store of value, and all those things all those buzzwords that we always say whenever we start talking about Bitcoin, right? So, and then think about it like this too. Then in 4 more years, at the next halving, it's going to go down to less than 1% inflation, and that's another 4 years away. But good grief, man. I mean, that is that is some really low inflation, right? It's going to be that way for quite some time though, because you know each halving will have somewhat less impact as far as the inflation rate and stuff like that, because it's going to be so close to zero already that you know it probably won't make a huge difference. But I mean, good grief, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, about the future halvings? I know we're talking about we're really concerned about this one coming up, but what about the one in 2024? That's insane amount of inflation. You know, lower inflation. So I think that's really cool. This is really cool stuff. I did want to point out that a lot of the countdown timers, you know, because of the variation of block times, right, based on transactions, hash rate, difficulty, all those different factors, then the time that this halving is going to happen is completely you can't really. You can speculate on when it is. I mean, you could make a wild guess, but it's going to be a wild guess because no one knows between now and then, you know, what the hash rate's going to be, what the difficulty. Well, actually, they do know the difficulty because that only changes every 2016 blocks. So, but the hash rate changes. So the block times change, you know, based on all those factors. And you know, this I'm not showing that. I'm actually looking at it, and I'm not showing it. Anyway. So this is the one of the block reward halving countdown timers. This one shows. Let me do a quick refresh here, just so you can see. Now, obviously, I don't know what the other time zones are, but this one shows 13 days, 7 hours, right? Basically 8 hours. This one shows 12 days, 19 hours. A whole other day. You know, this one was 12 May, but that's UTC, right? 09 UTC. And this has changed drastically in just a few days. And I talked about that a little bit on Friday. So it's getting wild here. The closer we get, the wilder it gets, you know. This one is, you know, 12 days, 19 hours. And then the Binance one, let me do a refresh here, is 12 days, 9 hours. Is that pretty close? See, even these two are 10 hours apart. But again, I don't know what time zone this is looking at, and it really doesn't matter because it's talking about block height anyway. So this one isn't showing you like a date, you know, a time or anything. It's just how many days and hours based on the current block time and block height and all that stuff. So, but it's cool to look at as we get closer. These things will become more accurate, so we'll know, hopefully know fairly precisely when it's going to happen. At least probably within a day or two of the halving, we're going to know pretty close to when it's going to happen, right? And I'm still looking. I want to do a Bitcoin halving party for sure. There for a while, it was looking like it was going to be at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I knew that was going to change, you know, my time. But I knew that was going to change, so we definitely need to do it just as our little group of crypto mining and YouTube related folks, you know, need to get together and do this. I think it would be really cool to. I know we're in quarantine, we're gonna have to do it from our home, but it would be cool to do it in person. That would be awesome too, but that's not gonna happen, right? So we're gonna have to do this from home and all of that. I think that it'll be cool. I've got some ideas about how to do it and what we can do while we're waiting and all that stuff. So I'm gonna put all that together and you know, throw it out to the close YouTubers and see what they think about it. See if they're interested in that. I've already queried a few of them, and everybody's saying, yeah, man, I'm in, you know. So that should be pretty fun. I think that'll be neat to actually watch it happen. You know, I'll figure out the best ways to watch it happen, and we'll probably do like some games and trivia and junk like that. You guys know how I like Bitcoin trivia, so there's plenty of it out there, and I think that would be kind of neat to do that. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or some giveaways or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't really want to do giveaways because there's a few people that are kind of ruining the giveaway situation with, you know, multiple accounts and stuff like that. It's freaking nonsense, man. I mean, it's so frustrating for me to see, and I'm nobody. I'm just I mean, super small channel, but it's frustrating whenever you know that these folks are creating duplicate accounts, and the method that we're using in order to pick a winner is based on YouTube account name, right? And they're using multiple accounts to register for the giveaways, and it's ruining the whole thing. And people are generous, and then they get taken advantage of, and it freaking pisses me off, right? So I hate that, and they're going to ruin, I think I tweeted about that, they're going to ruin the giveaways, because the people that are being generous and doing the giveaways aren't going to keep doing it if people are gaming the system like that, right? Because it's not fair. Some people don't, it's just not fair. It's wrong. If you're listening to this and you're one of the people that do it, freaking stop it, because it's dumb and it's not right. You're ruining it for everybody else because you're being an asshole, right? So anyway, so all right. What are we doing here? Showed you that. Oh, I think the next thing I was going to do is the spreadsheet. So I got kind of off topic there, but so this spreadsheet is getting like totally out of control here. I've added a lot of stuff to it, but it's kind of neat the way that it works, because I've added the ability to, I added some of the top 4 ASIC miners for Bitcoin, right? And you can plug in your quantity that you have. Like, let's say you're a farm and you have, 100, or let's say 1,000 S19s, and well, not yet. Well, if you were one of the first batch and you bought that many, maybe. But let's say you're planning on having 500 S19 Pros. A lot of people already have S17s, so you could plug that in here, and we can kind of mess around with the data, how that works, and it goes through all the value and throws the hash rates up here and everything. It's kind of neat. I also added the ability to pull JSON data, JavaScript object notation data from What2Mine. So in this section up here, it's pulling all this data straight from What2Mine, except for the block rewards. It could do that also, but I have it to where it's modifiable by us. And that's what this little terminal window means, because we want to see the effect of the halving, right? Or the halving. And so I left that modifiable by us. You can see right here that the block times are supposed to be 10 minutes, but they're actually 9.43 right now. So it's kind of cool. It's pretty intense. It shows you the yearly, monthly, day, hour, and minute earnings. We can go through the electricity details as far as the cost per kilowatt hour and where your break-even point is and all that stuff. So it's kind of neat. I threw in a total owned hash rate percentage here. I was going to actually do something to where it would calculate out the remaining, like what portion you don't own and how many rewards that portion gets, right? Bitcoin mining rewards. And it worked out pretty well. I could do it, but for some reason I couldn't get the data to actually match up between what it shows up here with the month and what it shows over here whenever you actually have data in here. I just couldn't get it to match perfectly, so I was like, I'm just not going to do that part right now. It's really not that important anyway. So, all right. So let's take a scenario. Let's say that you are a farm and you've got 1,000. Let's say 1,000 S17s, right? So you can see up here, we've got the current value of Bitcoin, 77.59. We go out here and check, it should be pretty accurate. Let's see here. Yeah, 77.49. Okay, so that's pretty close. And hash rate, I mean, we'd have to convert that to petahash, I think, right? And got the difficulty, all that stuff is pulling straight from What2Mine. So we'll let that ride. I'm pretty sure it's accurate. I mean, we can go out to What2Mine and check, I guess, but let's go over here. Where is What2Mine? Must have closed it. So you got difficulty 159, 586. 159,586. So see, it's pulling it right from the website. Hash rate is 124 petahash, 124,000 petahash. So that's 124 exahash, right? So this only shows 121. So I couldn't figure out how to get it to reload the data. So it might just be, closing and reopening. I couldn't figure out how to refresh it. It seems like there would be just a simple way of, I don't know, maybe it's the data valid. No, I don't know. Anyway, I'll look into that, but it's close enough. So it's not a big deal. I'm going to let that ride. And let's say we have 1,000 S17 pluses right now. And you got to remember now, and I brought this up because this just shows exactly how important the cost per kilowatt hour. I mean, these guys are working on such thin margins, right? Between the power, how much they pay for power, and how much they're consuming, and then their hash rate. It gets, building this spreadsheet, I can see how it gets really thin profit margins, right? Based on your electric costs. It really, really is. There's no denying that. We know that as hobby miners, we know how important it is, but a lot of us, we only have a few rigs, so we're not really impacted in such a huge way. But you can see right here that just with 1,000, it's $168 an hour to run it, right? At 6 cents an hour, or 6 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's crazy, right? So you can see that if you have a 1,000 Antminer S17 pluses at 6 cents, you're good. Let's see, about 7. At 7, you're still good. And I'm looking at these numbers up here. But again, you also have an operating expense. You have other expenses that are not included up here. This does include electric costs, but that's the only expense that I have listed here, because this does not include rent. It doesn't include wages, employment, all that stuff. It does not include any salaries or anything like that. This is just straight up after electric costs, right? So even at 7 cents per kilowatt hour, you're still pretty good. Although I would imagine with 1,000 ASICs, S17s, you probably wouldn't be that good after paying for help and rent and all that stuff. So let's go with 0.08. So at 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which is the average in China, okay, where most of the mining farms are for BTC, for Bitcoin, you're still pretty good. I mean, I would say that this is probably not that great after rent and all the other expenses. I couldn't imagine that this would be really good, but still somewhat profitable in my opinion. I think you would be all right. But then after that is whenever things get crazy, because at 9 cents it's way less. Obviously 10 cents way less, and then my local cost is 10.03 or 10.3, like that. That would be my electric cost. Let's see here. Are these numbers making sense? I think they are. Although it seems like we've hit like well, actually no, this is still going down. So, and this number here, this total 1 year profit, is after the hardware cost, right? So it's assuming that this is going to go on like this for a whole year straight, and it won't. But that's a big assumption by this sheet. So, so it's minus the hardware cost, which 1,000 S17s would be 1.3 million, right? Does that sound right? Sounds right. So, let's see here. And it's funny, you see even with 1,000 S17s, your percent of the total network hash rate is still 0.06. So that tells you how many ASICs are actually on the network, right? This is where I needed to fix this little formula in here. I will eventually, but you can see with 1,000 ASICs, 1,000 S17 pluses, your rewards per month are about 33 Bitcoin, right? Which is not bad. Sounds great, right, to us. Sounds great to me. But let's see here. So let's go with 0.08, which is the China average kilowatt per hour cost. And we see that we're still getting fairly profitable, not too profitable, but a little bit. But here's the big kicker, right? Because if you go from 12.5 BTC each day down to 6.25 after the halving, right? Look at these numbers. I mean, look at how drastic of a change that is, right? Here's 12.5. Here's 6.25. So that is the effect that the halving has on mining farms. So what do they do? What does a large mining farm that has 1,000 ASICs, which isn't really that large, but let's just pretend. So what do they do? What can they do to combat this, right? They are going, I mean, obviously after the, well, not obviously, but after the halving, you're probably going to see hash rate decrease, I would imagine. You're going to see difficulty decrease once that target is hit, as far as the 2 weeks, every 2016 blocks, which actually we probably should look at that and see when the next difficulty adjustment is, because that's going to be kind of an important aspect of this whole, trying to determine what the best thing to do here is, right? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I think that before the halving, I believe that miners, I mean, obviously they have sold out of the S19s, not obviously, but they have sold out of the S19s, and that would mean, I don't know how many they sold. I talked about this on Friday. I don't know how to find that information. I don't know how to find that data, like how many S19s have been sold, how many S19 Pros have been sold. Those are not, I think those are not going to be delivered until end of May, or not end of May, but into May. Supposedly before the halving. I don't know when those will be actually available. But, I mean, it's complicated, right? I mean, it's all this, it's a big business decision to find out what you have to do. A small miner does not have a lot of BTC in storage, right? Or saved up. A small miner probably doesn't have a lot saved up. So what are they going to sell it and then buy, replace their aging hardware? Maybe. But what if they don't have any? Then what do they do? Well, what do they have to do? They have to turn off their equipment, right? Because they're not going to be profitable. They're going to be operating in red for quite some time, probably, unless they update their equipment. So you can see that right here. Let's say that they updated their equipment from 1,000 S17s, we'll put 0 here, to 1,000 S19 Pros, right? So now they're back to being profitable, right? So this kind of shows you that they have to, and I mentioned this on Friday, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to survive with S17s with outdated equipment, right? Even though it's not even that old. But I just think that the difficulty, the wattage, all that stuff plays into it in a way that you're really not going to survive unless you go to an S19, at least at 8 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, if you could get down to, let's see here, let's change this back to, change this back to 0, go down here. So where would you be profitable at? Maybe 4 cents? Okay, so 4 cents, 5, and this is just strictly just barely profitable, right? I mean, if you look at these numbers, it's not great. If you have 1,000 devices, and you're only making $247 a day, that's really you're probably operating at a loss realistically. And then not to mention, but this is going to, your profits are going to decrease over time as more of these devices, these S19s come online because of the difficulty and their hash rate that they're adding and all that stuff, how it works and how it plays into there. So it looks like even, maybe 6 cents you could maybe survive. I don't know, at least for some time. And let's see, let's go back up to 8 cents here for the China average. There's some other miners that are out there. You got the What's Miner M30S++. That is 112 terahash. I think it's kind of a marketing thing. Obviously, they want to be a little bit faster than Bitmain, right? So they probably just tweaked the clock just enough to get 112 terahash. I think there's still plus or minus 5% or something on these, but anyway, so let's see what 1,000 of those look like. Yeah, not great, not great. So see, even at 8 cents per kilowatt hour, 1,000 S19s. Wow, this is going to show if I'm reading this right. Okay, so let's go back to 0 here. Put 1,000 here. Yeah, so look at that. So the difference between profitability on 1,000 S19s versus S19 Pros, it's only 15 terahash difference between the devices, right? But it is literally the difference between profitability and not profitability at 8 cents per kilowatt hour. That's crazy, right? I mean, these devices are almost the same, but that just goes to show you how incredibly thin those margins are, right? Wow, that is crazy. That's insane. Look at this dang formula for, this is the one that threw me off, and this is why the Friday's stream, it was a little weird because the calculations were so off. But this calculation, this formula right here is crazy. So I had seen the formula before, but I had to get it into the sheet so that it worked, right? So I knew about what the formula was. I just didn't know how to make it work in the sheet. And so it's basically the time frame, like that's what the 30 is 30 days times C13, which is your total hash rate, not in petahash or a terahash or anything like that, just straight up hash rate. So it's 30 days times hash rate times the block rewards, which at this point is 12.5, but we're going to 6.25, times 86,400, which is how many seconds in a day there are, I believe, right? Is that right? I think that's right, 86,400. And then you got to divide that by the difficulty times 2 to the power of 32. So that's how you get that's how you estimate your rewards based on that information. So we can bounce this against what to mine, and it's close. I already did it, so it's pretty close. All these calculations are pretty accurate. So I feel like I've got it nailed at this point as far as the data goes, except for this right here. But I'll fix that. Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. Let's see if Brandon Coins live over here. All right, so he's doing a premiere on how to withdraw BTC from NiceHash. Okay, that's cool. We will get over there and check him out. Let me throw his link in the chat over here. And if you guys found this entertaining or somewhat informative or whatever, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell if you want to see information like this or videos like this. I'm live Monday through Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, pretty much every day. Every now and then I'll miss a day, but for the most part, I'm live every day at that time. So come and check it out. I try to do things that are informative and kind of like thought-provoking, at least to some degree. So that's kind of what I try to do. So yeah, just come back tomorrow night. I'll be here at 9:30. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Yeah, everything should be good. On track and all that stuff. So head over there to Brandon Coin. Be sure to do the Savage raid. Let him know you came from over here. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Stay savage, everybody.